RealAgriculture.com's coverage of Farm Progress 2013 is brought to you by Syngenta Canada, bringing plant potential to life. We're at Farm Progress show in Regina. We're joined right now by Lyndon Carlson of FCC. Welcome today, Lyndon.
Thank you, Shaun.
Lyndon just gave a great presentation about ag more than ever, about the need for people in the agricultural industry to be advocates. Let's talk go a little deeper here.
Okay, sure.
You've traveled across the country, I've traveled across the country giving this kind of message. There's still a lot of skepticism. People saying, like, why do I need to do this? Why do we need to bother? What's your feeling on that?
Well, I know why we need to do it. Is that we need to tell the real story of agriculture, because if you think there's skepticism on the agriculture side, there's a whole bunch of skepticism on the consumer side. And we need to gain the consumer's trust. The consumer is critical to the success of our industry, of course. That's true domestically. That's also true in international markets, where people have to trust the food that we're creating and be willing to pay us for it. And I think that we can lessen that skepticism on both sides of the table by communicating with each other. Because you know what I think we're going to find? I think we've got a lot more in common than we realize. Today's consumers care very much about the environment. Guess what? So do we. Today's consumers care very much about sustainable practices. Guess what? So do we. And I can go on and on. The fact is, we share a lot with those consumers that are critical to us, so why don't we try to get to know them better and tell them what we're up to?
Well, you had mentioned that farmers tend to score very well as a respectable occupation.
Absolutely.
But the impression of the word agriculture sometimes gets a little bit of a different.
That's true.
Why is that?
Well, because people talk about don't understand modern agriculture, those that aren't on the farm. And so we need to talk about the fact that 98% of today's Canadian farms are family farms. The family farm is alive and well. Has the farm size grown? Of course it's grown. It'll probably continue to grow. At the same time, those farmers are the same people that love the land, love their animals, they love their family, and they produce food. And so but a lot of times the urban audience is thinking factory farms, big agriculture. What does that mean? You know what? It's just larger. We're still doing the same thing. And so we need to say, hey, agriculture, farmer, same thing, and get that message out.
1 year anniversary of Ag More Than Ever. Real Agriculture is, of course, proud to be a partner of Ag More Than Ever. What have we learned in the first year?
Well, what we learned is there is a great audience for talking positively about the industry. I was skeptical, and we're talking about being skeptical, that maybe we're going to go out and talk across the country and people are going to put up their hands and say, oh, it's not so good, or maybe that what we're saying isn't right. You know what? Just today I spoke and I had a line of people coming up to say thank you for what you're doing. And that's what's happening everywhere. There's an audience, and the audience is our own. It's the industry right now, and I hope we'll take that from the industry to the consumer, to the whole population. And so we're pretty pumped that we're on a good path.
Now, when you talk about the consumer, that's a big mark. That's a lot of people to talk to. How do we penetrate that? How do we make a difference?
By being relentless. We have to say, tell you the positive story of agriculture, and it will stick. You know why I know that? Because right now, the urban population, one of the words they keep talking about is how agriculture is a struggling industry. Well, how did they get that impression? Because they heard us when we were talking that way years ago.
We whined about it for quite a while.
We talked that way, and it stuck. So now we're going to change the conversation, tell a new conversation, and we'll get through to them, Shaun.
Well, then, congratulations on the first year and more years of success, and thanks a lot, and have a great show.
Okay, thank you much.